مرحبا أهلا وسهلا بكم. Welcome again to our Gateway to Arabic series. We are still going through book 5. We are now on page 15. And today's lesson is going to be about how to conjugate verbs whose first letter is waw. That type of verbs, we call it in Arabic الفعل المعتل المثال الواوي. الفعل المعتل المثال الواوي. Let me give you 3 selections of verbs of this kind. The first one, and I'm deliberately choosing these 3 for the reason you will know shortly. Waqafa, and that's a verb to stop or to stand. Waqafa. Second one is wajila. Wajila. He was afraid. He was scared. Wajila. Okay. The third one is wajuha. Wajuha. He was a man of distinction. Wajuha. As I said, there are reasons why I am choosing these particular 3 type of verbs that are starting with waw. Okay, the good news is they are all conjugates in a normal fashion. We mean they are our usual template in the past tense. In the past tense, you just conjugate them as you would have done for verb like kataba. Okay, let's conjugate one of them as an example. Let's take waqafa. Waqafa. He stopped or he stood. Waqafa. She would be waqafat, usual template. So waqafa, he stopped or stood. Waqafat, she stopped or stood. 2 men stopped or stood would be waqafa, your usual alif of ithnain, the dual alif. 2 women stopped or stood would be waqafata. Okay. 3 men stopped or stood would be waqafu. Equivalent in 3 women or more would be waqafna. So when you are talking about people, the pattern that we have established in the past would be waqafa, waqafat, waqafa, waqafata, waqafu, waqafna. And that's the third person. In Arabic is called al-ghaib. Okay. Second person, al-mukhatab, when you are speaking to people in the past tense in front of you, usual pattern. In the second person, the third root letter, in this case, is a fa. You put sukun on it, and then you attached ta if you are speaking to a man, and ti if you're speaking to a woman. So you say waqafta. You stopped, or you stood up. Waqafta. For women, you say, a woman, you say waqafti, you. If you are speaking to 2 men, then again you put sukun on your third root letter, waqaf, and then tuma. And it's the same thing is for when you are speaking to 2 women, waqaf, and then tuma. Speaking to 3 men or more, sukun again on your third root letter, waqaf, and then add tum. If you are speaking to 3 or more women in front of you, you say waqaf and then tunna. So remember, sukun across the board on the third root letter, and then add ta, tuma, tum for the masculine section, ta for singular, tuma for two, tum for three or more. For women, you say ti for singular, tuma for duo, and tunna for plural. So waqafta, waqafti, waqaftuma, waqaftuma, waqaftum, waqaftunna. Speaker, mutakallim, you will say sukun again, you put waqaf, and then you say tu. And there is no gender involved. A man and a single woman will say the same thing. Waqaf tu. I stopped or I stood. We, two of us or more, again, it's neutral. You say waqaf na, waqaf na. Women and men will say the same thing. Waqaf na, waqaf na. So these three verbs in their past tense, although they start with wow, they will be conjugated as normal, as per the template that we have established right from when we were studying book 3. So that's the good news. Nothing to be worried about. Now, let's look at how they will behave in the present tense. This is where we need to put our thinking cap on. Yes. Okay? So you've been, alerted to this. So we need to really switch on now. Okay. Let's first of all provide the starting points for present tense for these 3 verbs. Number 1, waqafa, as past tense. The present tense of that will be yaqifu. Waqafa, yaqifu. Okay, what's going on there? Yaqifu. Are you noticing something missing there in the present tense? I am. I can see, wow, it's disappeared. So waqafa, yaqifu. Wow is gone. So the rule is, when a verb has wow as its first root letter, and the second root letter in the present tense has a kasra, the first root letter will be deleted. Hence we say waqafa yaqifu, wasala yasilu. Once that's been done, then the rest of the conjugation in the present tense follow the pattern. So let's do the waqafa. So waqafa yaqifu. That means he stands, or he stops, or stopping, standing. She will be taqifu. So yaqifu, he stands or he stops. Taqifu, she stands or she stops. Okay. The dual ending, the two men standing or stand, will be yaqifani. Usual ending, yaqifani. Two men standing or stand. Two women standing will be taqifani. Usual ending. 3 men or more are standing or stand will be yaqifuna. Yaqifuna. And then 3 women standing, stopping, or stand, stop will be yaqifna. So the ending is fine, it's following the usual pattern, but the beginning is the one you need to be alert, because we remove the wow because the second root letter has kasra on it. So third person will be yaqifu, taqifu, yaqifani, taqifani, yaqifuna, yaqifna. Good. The second person, follow the pattern, you say taqifu, you male singular, stand or standing, taqifu, ta across the board, taqifu. And the you singular female standing will be taqifina, usual ina ending, taqifina. You two men, two men, or you two women is the same. You say taqifani, taqifani, the same way. You three or more men, you standing, say taqifuna, una ending, taqifuna. And you three or more women standing will be taqifna, taqifna. So the second person, which is mukhatab, will be present tense, taqifu, taqifina, taqifani, taqifani, taqifuna, taqifna. Okay. And first person will be aqifu. Men are a man and a woman who say the same thing. Aqifu, I'm standing. And we, two of us or more, we say naqifu, regardless of the gender. Naqifu, naqifu. So that's first category where we remove the waw, we delete the waw in the present tense. For as long as the conditions, two conditions are met. One is the past tense of that verb must be ثلاثي, يعني يكون الماضي ثلاثيا مجردا, meaning it has to be of first form verb and mujarradan, so it's not something that mazid. Okay. ثلاثية مجرد. And the second condition is أن تكون عين المضارع مكسورة. The second root letter in the present tense must be carrying كسرة. So وقف يقف, وصل يصل. Then in that case, the first root letter, which is waw, will be removed. That's one category. The second category, let's go back to the second verb, which is wajila yawjalu, is the present tense, and that's the verb to be afraid. So wajila, that's past tense, we've dealt with that. Yawjalu. You notice now the waw is there. We didn't remove that waw. Wajila yawjalu. That's your waw is still there. Why is that? You will note that the second root letter in the present tense is not carrying kasra. It's carrying fatha, yawjalu. Hence, we retain the waw in the present tense. Equally, this third verb that we started with, which is wajuha. He was the man of distinction, wajuha. The present tense is yawjuhu. Again, the second root letter in the present tense doesn't carry kasra and is carrying dhamma, yawju. So, and we retain the waw. The rule is when the second root letter of a verb which has the waw as it is first root, when it is in the present tense, it's either fatha, in the fatha, like we said, wajila yawjalu, or dhamma, wajuha yawjuhu. Then in that case, the waw remains. We will not delete that waw. But when it is kasra, the present tense, as we've just done, so we will remove the waw. Wasala yasilu. Those are the rules. Now, Now we've established that, let's now conjugate the verb wajila yawjalu. Once we know that, it's a normal conjugation. So we say yawjalu, that's he. Yawjalu, he is afraid. And she will be tawjalu, she is afraid. Okay, she's afraid. That will be tawjalu. And the duo for they, two men, will be yawjalani. Pattern, the same pattern, yaktubani, yawjalani. And the two women will be tawjalani. Ta and then ani ending, tawjalani. And the plural for they, three men or more, yawjaluna. Like yaktubuna, yawjaluna. And the three women or more are afraid will be yawjalna. Like yaktubna, yawjalna. So we retain wow across the board. So that will be yawjalu, tawjalu. Yawjalani, tawjalani. Yawjaluna, yawjalna. Second person, al-mukhatab, will be ta, ta, ta across the board. You start with ta. As I always emphasize, second person, present tense, you start the ta across the board. So we say tawjalu. That's you, single male. Tawjalu. And you, single female, ina ending, tawjalina. Tawjalina. You two is the same. Tawjalani, you two men. Tawjalani, you two women. You three or more men will be tawjaluna, and you three or more female will be tawjalna. So the second person is tawjalu, tawjalina, tawjalani, tawjalani, tawjaluna, tawjalna. I will be awjalu. Awjalu. That's a man, a woman will say the same thing. And we, three or more of us, regardless of gender, will be nawjalu. Nawjalu. Okay. The third verb that we mentioned, that wajuha, yawjuhu. Again, that we just conjugated the same way. So yawjuhu, that's a he. That's a single. He is a man of distinction. That's a yawjuhu. And she will be tawjuhu. So she is a woman of distinction. Tawjuhu. And they means two or more, two men will be yawjuhani. Yawjuhani. And two women will be tawjuhani. Three men or more, yawjuhuna. And three women or more, yawjuhna. So the pattern is yawjuhu, tawjuhu. Yawjuhani, tawjuhani. Yawjuhuna, yawjuhuna. The second person, al-mukhatab, is speaking to them in present tense. You singular male, tawjuhu. And you singular female, tawjuhina. Hina ending. Tawjuhina. Two of you men or two of you women is the same. You say tawjuhani, tawjuhani. Three of you male or more, you say tawjuhuna. And three or more of you female, you will say tawjuhuna. And I will be awjuhu, and we nawjuhu, regardless of the gender. Yes. So that's the second type of the verbs that start with wow, done for you in the past tense and the present tense. The next, of course, let's have a look at imperative. Imperative, which is fi'al al-amr. Fi'al al-amr. Now, this one also needs a little bit of attention, please. come on, wake up. Right. All right. The fi'l amr is derives from the second person mudari', which is present tense. So when you want to command a single male, let's start with the verb waqafa yaqifu. The one that we remove the waw because the second root is carrying kasra in the present tense. So the fi'l al-amr, your imperative, will follow the same rule. So if you remove the waw in the present tense, you remove the waw in the imperative as well. So when we say yaqifu, waw is gone. You want to imperative for single male, you say qif. There's no waw. That's imperative to instruct a single male. You say stand up, or stop, stand up. Say qif, qif. Sukun on your third root letter. Qif, waw is gone, because waw is gone in present tense as well. If you want to instruct a single woman, you say qifi, qifi. Again, waw is gone. Okay. You want to instruct two men, you say qifa. And the same for two women, you say qifa. Qifa nabki min habib. No. Qifa. Okay? Qifa. Now if you want to instruct three men, you say qifu. And three women, you say to them qifna. So the imperative of the verb where the waw will disappear in the present tense will be qif, qifi, qifa, qifa, qifu, qifna. Done. Okay, how do we then deal with the imperative of the verbs? We start with the waw and we retain the waw in the present tense. What's the fi'l amr? Or the imperative would be two lot, in two lot, A and B. The A is if the present tense of this kind of verb, the second root is carrying fatha. In the present tense, like the one we said, wajila yawjalu. You see, ja, that's your second root. Wajila yawjalu. In that case, the imperative, something will happen to the waw in the imperative. We retain it in the present tense, but in the imperative, let's see what's going to happen. The imperative of wajila yawjalu will be ijal. What? What's going on? Ijal. The waw will be converted to ya. What? Yes, it will be converted into ya. You may ask, why? The reason is the grammar point here, because the alif of imperative, when it has kasra on it, you cannot have waw. Follow it. That's why that waw has been converted. You cannot have waw, and then before the waw you have the kasra. No. So you will say ijal, not you. No. Waw is gone. Change it into ya. So ijal. Yeah? Because that alif must have kasra. Okay, the reason we've already explained that before, because the second root is carrying fatha. Okay? So we say ijal. Then the rest is easy. Ijal, you are instructing a single man. Ijali is instructing a single woman. Ijal, ijali. Duo, we say ijala, and it's for both, whether you are instructing two men or two women. Ijala. If you are instructing three men or more, the imperative will be ijalu. Ijalu. And instructing three or more women, you will say ijalna. So your imperative from this verb in this case will be ijal, ijali, ijala, ijala, ijalu, and ijalna. Okay, finally, however, when you have the wajuha yawjuhu, when that is the second root in the present tense is carrying dhamma. In this case, your imperative, your alif of imperative must also carry dhamma. Just like a yaktubu, say uktub. Okay, dhamma on the alif. Once you have dhamma, there is no reason to convert wow into anything. Wow is at home with dhamma before it. No problem. So we say wajuha yawjuhu, you say ujuh. Sukun on the ha. You say ujuh. Wow is there. And if equivalent in female, we say ujuhi. Ujuhi. So for a man, you say ujuh. Woman, you say ujuhi. Okay. Two people, you will say ujuha. It's the same for two women, ujuha. If you are instructing three or more men, you say ujuhu. And three or more women, you will say to them ujuhna. So ujuh, ujuhi, ujuha, ujuha, ujuhu, and ujuhna. So that is conclude our explanation of how to conjugate verbs whose first root letter is wow. We've done it in the past tense and the present tense with all its complication, and also in the imperative fi'al al-amr. Yes, please try to revise this for me. So on page 15 and the page afterwards, please study it for me, and I want you to master this, how to conjugate al-fi'lu, al-mu'tal, al-mithal, al-wawi, both in al-fi'l al-madi, past tense, or al-fi'l al-mudari', present tense, or fi'l al-amr, imperative. Well done. You've been very patient, but please do your best to get hold of these conjugations. They are very important. See, ilm al-sarf, tasrif al-af'al, we call it conjugation of your verbs, is of a very important. So we are getting there. There are a few more things to go through in book 5, and it will be very, very useful for you to master it, inshallah. Well done. Keep going, and I see you next time, inshallah. Meantime, مع السلامة إلى اللقاء في أمان الله.